Hello there, my sisters. Thank you all for joining us for season two of the Black Girls Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds podcast. I am Nijiama Smalls. Everybody calls me Naj, author and founder of the Black Girls Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds and the Black Girl Healing Project. I am so delighted to have our special guest today on this particular podcast. This session is going to be deep, thoughtful, and transformative in so many ways. I have with me Dr. Letitia. She is a licensed psychotherapist, a professor, author, serial entrepreneur, media personality, and visionary leader with over 27 years of experience committed to advancing healing, equity, and personal and community transformation. She serves as program director for the Master of Public Administration and Master of Social Work programs at Seton Hall University. Dr. Sampson is also the founder and president of both Great Joy Counseling and Consulting Services, which is a multi-state mental health practice providing trauma-informed care to individuals, families, and communities, and Great Joy Community Developed Corporation, which is a 501c3. She is the author of the Lead Her Peer Recovery Curriculum for Survivors of Domestic Violence and Sexual Abuse, and the newly released My Mom is My Biggest Hater. Y'all, I want to tell you, I've been reading this book and I haven't finished because this is the type of book you can't fly through. You have to sit with it. You have to take your time. You have to process it. I feel like I'm sitting with my therapist, who is the most compassionate and understanding therapist that I've ever had, right? So you don't feel alone. You feel like you're with someone as you're reading this book, but she is peeling back the layers. So with that being said, welcome, Dr. Letitia.
Thank you so much, Naj. It is a pleasure to be here with you. It is a pleasure, viewers and listeners. It is something I cannot wait to dive into. So excited.
Thank you. And I am super excited to have you here because this question is so necessary, so important because mother-daughter relationships are complicated. And I want to say, even if you feel like you don't have that complicated relationship with your mom, I want to encourage you to keep listening. If you are a mom and your relationship with your daughter hasn't always been smooth, you've had some points, I want you to stay on board because, again, this is going to be a conversation filled with compassion, love, and healing. So let's just dig right into it.
Let's go.
What made you write this deeply personal book?
Yes. So I wrote this book, Naj, because silence was becoming too expensive. My own silence and the silence of all the women that sat with me in therapy offices for the past 27 years, right? So these were women who were accomplished. These were women who were successful, who were driven. These were women who had achieved things beyond their wildest dreams, but yet still felt diminished, still felt unseen, still felt unheard, and didn't connect the dots as to why. And I think most importantly, because we live in a society, right, with social media and, people believe that all their haters are the people that are at their jobs, right? Or the soccer moms that don't say hello, or friends that are now frenemies. But I needed women to understand that a lot of these dynamics that they are experiencing with feeling devalued and invalidated really occurred in childhood. And so what bigger hater is your mom? What bigger hater is the person that was supposed to inflict love, esteem, but may have instead, unbeknownst to them, given criticism, given emotional abandonment, and given pain. And so I wanted to ensure that moms, as well as daughters, would have an opportunity to really heal before it's too late. So that's what made me write the book.
Wow, powerful. And I want to read a little bit piece of the book.
Okay.
And you said, to this is to the mothers. I want to
Yes.
tell you as plainly and as lovingly as I can what your daughter needed, not to wound you, but because knowing is the only path to doing differently. She needed to be seen, not managed, not projected onto, not evaluated in relation to you, or compared to a version of herself that served your needs. Seen her actual self, her specific qualities, her struggles, her unique way of moving through the world, received with attention and warmth and genuine curiosity. This stopped me dead in my tracks. It stopped me. I highlighted it, I dog eared it.
Got it?
I have to walk away and just sit with this and process it.
Yes.
So, because for me, I'm a daughter and a mother, right?
Hmm.
And we project our own stuff
Yes.
onto our
Yes.
daughters. And
Yes,
I
we do.
needed to really, really internalize my child needs to be seen as herself.
Yes.
Why do you think mother and daughter relationships are so complicated?
Well, I think the first thing is to recognize, and I'm going to answer your question, but I want to say this part first and why I
Mm-hmm.
wrote that particular section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healing requires truth. And what I say all the time is that it's not the lies that other people tell us that harm us, it's the lies that we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a society that romanticizes mother daughter relationships,
True.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're not going to get your nails done together and going to brunch every Sunday and on the phone every day, then it's something wrong. Right? And so I wanted to be able to write a book that addressed that. You are supposed to, based on God's, right,
Mm-hmm.
requirement, to honor your parents. But
Mm-hmm.
honoring does not mean you have to endure abuse, you have to endure manipulation, or you have to endure emotional harm. So I wanted daughters and mothers to finally be able to tell the truth so that they can be set free. I think that mother and daughter relationships are complicated because most of the time, mothers see their daughters as an extension of themselves. They do not see their daughter's unique characteristics, their gifts, their talents, their abilities, and see the true people that they are. And so when you are measuring your daughter based on your expectations, you are setting the relationship up for disappointment from the very beginning. And so many times daughters
Wow.
just tolerate. And then when they're older, that's when you start to really see all
Hmm.
the issues that were there the whole time.
Whoa, that's deep. That's deep.
That's
Yeah,
a
because
mouthful.
that's a mouthful, but it's truth. We have to
Hmm.
admit the truth. And with both of my kids, I have a son and a daughter.
Okay.
I know I push. I
Yep.
know I push. And I know I push my daughter.
Hmm.
And there's a part of me that has to ask myself, and I do, why am I pushing? And it goes back to so much you said in this book. You talk about the patterns that we form. And I actually read over another deep part that I read right before we got on this podcast that I really wanted to, because you state the impulse to manage instead of
Yes.
listen. Y'all
Yes.
heard that, y'all? The impulse to manage instead
Yes.
of listen.
And so, Naj, here's what happens. Most mothers are parenting from their own unresolved trauma. And we
Woo!
hear it, right? We say it and we hear it, and it's a constant like, I'm going to give my children what I didn't have. But are you giving your children what it is that they need?
Right, right.
There's a
There's a
difference,
line, there's a difference.
right? So it's important for mothers to recognize that hurt that is, inherited is transferred to daughters. It's not transformed.
Right.
And so as a result, those daughters then are inheriting family traditions, but they're also inheriting family pain, insecurity. They're also inheriting drama, trauma, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
picking up on all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I often say, especially to black families, right? And you are like a guru on black
Mm-hmm.
families and black family
Mm-hmm.
healing. But one of the things that we have to be honest about is that oftentimes we raise our daughters and we permit our sons.
That's so
You
true.
can have one family,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where the son has a girlfriend in his room with the door closed,
Mm-hmm.
but skirt better not be above her knee.
Right. Exactly.
Where does that come from?
Exactly.
Are the things that have to be examined for there to be healing.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, you especially the way we parent our daughters and our sons so
Yes.
differently, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um and it's unfortunate because just like you said, we are passing down our own trauma, our
Yes.
own unresolved issues. And sometimes it's for me, one of the things with my daughter is she plays volleyball. She was a swimmer, she was on the swim team, now she plays volleyball. And I push her. Practice, practice, practice. And I have to ask myself, why am I pushing her? I want her to be great. And I do, right? I want her to be
Hmm.
good at this. She says she loves it. We're going to go for it, right? But there's another part of me that has to be honest with myself and say, I wasn't as athletic in school. And I wish I was, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that is where the push is coming
Yes.
from because I'm pushing her, but I'm really pushing little Najma. I'm really
Yes.
pushing the 12-year-old Naj
Yes.
that
Yes.
was on the outside that wanted to be athletic but didn't have those opportunities, right? So
That's right.
this really
Hmm.
clarified that for me. You
Yes.
talk about moms and the different types of moms, and you're really
Yes.
good with the family systems and so on. Talk about the martyr mom. What do we see with the martyr mom? She's familiar to me.
The martyr mama is probably the one we have all experienced one way or another, right? And so none of this is about shaming moms, all right? I want to
Mhm.
be very clear about that. But it's about us constantly telling the truth, right?
Telling the truth,
So
no shame.
yep, no shame, right? Because
Hmm.
that doesn't help. That doesn't help us heal.
Right.
But it's understanding, right? The martyr mama is the one whose identity is rooted in sacrifice. Their
Mm.
identity is rooted in suffering, and their
Hmm.
identity is rooted in self denial.
Hmm.
And that mama is communicating, whether it's directly or indirectly, that everybody owes her because of
Hmm.
all she has endured or given. Right? And so those
Hmm.
are the comments like, after all I've done for you, I sacrificed my whole life for my children. People use this as badges of honor,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Nobody ever sees me, nobody ever does anything for me. You'll understand when you're a mother. All of that is components of the
Hmm.
martyr. It creates is an expectation that love can only come when there is guilt or some type of debt,
Right. Exactly.
right? And so the daughters of martyr mamas become chronic overthinkers, chronic caretakers, people pleasers, hyper vigilant and hyper responsible adults, right? And they're most importantly women who feel guilty resting, women who feel guilty saying no, and women who feel guilty prioritizing themselves because it was not something that they saw. So the martyr mama is really the most dangerous mama of them all.
Wow. And because if you think about it, right, this is drilled into us
Yes.
sacrifice. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she would always say about one of my uncles, she would always say, I died 9 times having you.
Having you. If you don't act right, right, I
Like,
almost
okay, grandma.
died. Hmm.
Like, okay,
Hmm.
grandma. And there are times when I see that showing up in myself is like, all I do for you, and you
All I
can't
do
even
for you.
take out the so it's like
Mhm.
that is putting that guilt on your
Yes.
kid. And
Yes.
sometimes that's a burden to bear, right? If you think about it as a child, right? My mom is telling me she died almost 9 times, right? So I've got to live my
I
life.
owe. I owe.
I live my life owing my mom. So that's where the black tax comes into play
That's
at,
right.
y'all.
That's right.
The first thing when you hear someone, especially a male, when they talk about getting rich. I'm going to buy my mama a house. I'm going to buy my mama
Yes.
this and that.
Yes.
Because it's the
Yes.
black tax, right?
That's right.
And so,
That's
for
right.
those of us who grew up with, the martyr mom, and it's always got to be over our heads. We
Yes.
were beaten with it. You had this, and you had
Yes.
I
Yes.
didn't go
I
to
did
I
this
didn't go
for
to
you.
college so that because so
That's
that you
right.
could do this, and I worked 5 jobs just to pay your
Yes.
tuition,
Yes.
all of those
Yes.
sorts of things.
Yes.
And you're right. You grow up with this whole thing of like, I owe my mom. I'm forever
Yes.
in debt. Like the
It did.
score is not even
That's
because
right.
I owe her my
Yes.
life.
Yes.
And I often wonder if other cultures have the mom tax, the
Oh,
black tax that we
absolutely.
have. They do? Yeah.
Absolutely. It may be
Interesting.
different. It may be different just because we have different family dynamics due to chattel slavery and other things, systemic racism, etc. But I've worked with people of all different backgrounds these last 27 years, and people of all different backgrounds have experienced the martyr mama and what it has done to their life and what it has cost them. So it's not just something that impacts us as black folks. It is a cultural phenomenon.
Right. Absolutely. Interesting. And so because of all the different types of mama, and she's got a list of mamas,
Hmm.
y'all. You gotta read the book. I'm not gonna tell you all, you gotta read the book. But there
It's
are
a lot of
roles,
mamas.
it's a lot of mamas. There are roles that we play as daughters, right?
Yes.
You described, but I'm the one that's the responsible daughter. I take care
Ooh.
of everything. You come to me, I'm going to get it done.
Hmm.
And because of that, I'm spread thin. I can't put my finger on why I am the responsible daughter. I
Mm.
can't I'm trying to wrap my head around that, Dr. Letitia. Like, why am I right now? My mom is aging, right? And
Okay.
so her husband passed away last year, our stepdad.
Okay.
So making sure her yard gets mowed, that's me. Making
Hmm.
sure, all the things.
Hmm.
And my sister don't, if you're listening, I love you, sis. She went down there
That's
with my
not her
mom's
role.
surgery. Yeah, but we all play our role.
You
She's
all play a
helping out.
different
Don't get me
role.
wrong. I don't know why I'm playing that role, Dr.
So let's
Letitia. What's
think
going
about
on?
this. Let's think about this though, Naj. Right? Like
Hmm.
family systems assign daughters the
Hmm.
roles in childhood, and
Hmm.
those roles just tend to persist into adulthood. Right.
Hmm.
So let's talk about some of the roles. Right. We're not going to talk about all the mamas, but I do want to talk about the daughter roles. So the first daughter role is the golden child. That's the one that is favored. That's the one that is idealized. That's the one that's expected to hold the family's image. Then you
Hmm.
have the scapegoat daughter. That's the one that is blamed for all the family's problems. That's the one that's labeled difficult, rebellious, or too sensitive. Then you have the parentified daughter. That's the one who becomes either the emotional and or the practical caregiver for both their parents and their siblings. Then you have the invisible daughter. That's the daughter whose needs, her accomplishments, and her emotions receive little acknowledgement. Then you have the peacekeeper daughter. That's the one that is responsible for managing all the conflict in the family and keeping everybody emotionally stable at the expense of herself. And then lastly, you have the truth teller daughter. That's the one who challenges dysfunction, that exposes all the family secrets and disrupts the unhealthy patterns. But that comes with significant resistance.
100%.
So these things are learned in childhood and they're applied based on personality. So something about how you were growing up made your family assign you that responsible role. You were able to
Mm.
get it done. And so you've just carried that on into adulthood. And that in and of itself isn't bad. I don't want people to think, right, that doing things for our parents or our families is a bad thing. It's doing things at the expense of ourselves. It's doing things that are costing you emotionally.
Please hear this, y'all.
I need everybody to get this
Hmm.
because we tell ourselves, no, but that's my mom. I'm willing to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. It has to be done. Somebody has to do it, but it doesn't have to be done at the cost of you.
Very
We
true.
don't create healthy boundaries for ourselves. I'm going to share this with you, Nash, because I think this will make a lot of sense to the listeners, and I think
Hmm.
it will make sense to you as well. There are people in my family that I love very deeply, but I know how much time I could spend with them before it's a problem.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Guess what? I'm going to tell y'all something else. There are people in my family that all I do with them is go to the movies. You know why? Because you can't talk. I love you. I want to be able to share space with you. We're going to order this food that they're going to bring to our seats. We're going to enjoy this movie we both want to watch. And afterwards, I'm going to hug you and I'll see you for the next movie date. But you may not be that one that I'm on the phone with 5, 6, 7 hours, because that relationship is not that. And we have to be okay really assessing and understanding what our relationships are.
That's so true. But Dr. Letitia, in
Yes.
Black families, you know what we
Yes.
say? Well, that's your daddy. That's your mama. Why we say that? And so to me, when we say that, I have to put up with that. That's what it's saying. You can't.
Yes.
I can't have that boundary
Yes.
because this is this is my father or my mother.
Well, you have to realize though that this comes from slavery, right? Where we and it comes from the post-slavery time as well, right? And so it's like no matter what happens, no matter what abuse, no matter what pain, no matter what discouragement has occurred, you tolerate that, right? And then guess what we do at funerals? We get up there and we lie, right?
All
And
the
we say,
time.
we say you know how we get the 2 minutes to talk, right? And people will come out the woodworks. Oh, this person was just this, that, and the other. And you know they were mean and hateful and horrible, right?
Exactly.
We don't tell the truth. And we have to recognize that more than one thing can exist. You can love your mom and recognize that you have to set boundaries with her to keep yourself emotionally well.
Right.
The and. It's not a but.
Right.
It's an and.
I love it. Let's talk about criticism as a
Woo!
love language,
That's a big
because
one.
my family was heavy on the criticism as a love language. And I had to I knew when I had my children I wasn't going to use criticism as a love
Yes.
language. So I'm always finding that balance of giving constructive feedback and criticism, right? And my daughter, she's a teenager, so she wears sweatpants and so on in the summertime, and the big baggy clothes that we wore in the 90s is now back. And now
Yes.
I realize how my mom felt about it, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I have to manage, because sometimes I just want to pop off and say, you look like a hot fool.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, right?
You look like a hot fool with that hoodie on.
Yes.
And it's
And 90
something
degree weather.
degrees. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I have to and what I always say to her is, I'm going to let you be you.
Yes.
I'm going to let you be you.
Yes.
But how do we talk to us about the criticism? How do we break free from it? And why is that part of our culture?
So first of all, it's a masquerade, right? So we hear things like, I'm only saying this because I love you. I'm just saying it because I'm trying to help you. I'm saying this because I want you to win. I'm saying this because I don't want somebody else to say it to you. But what we don't realize is that when criticism becomes that primary love language, daughters begin to equate love with correction, disapproval, and inadequacy. Let me say it again. When criticism is the primary love language, daughters equate love with correction, disapproval, and inadequacy. And so they are now going to spend their life seeking validation, whether it's from their achievements, whether it's from a romantic relationship, whether it's from their appearance. They're going to seek that validation, right? So we have to be mindful about the comments that we make, because criticism is slippery and it can masquerade. We'll say things, comments about appearance. We'll diminish accomplishments. We'll compare.
I do that.
Right? We'll find fault. Right? And we'll be and moms will be joking, but it's really public humiliation. So this harm is very profound, because daughters then internalize the message that I am only lovable when I'm improved.
I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy.
I
Yes.
am as is. And what does that do? That leads to perfectionism, anxiety, low self-worth, and it also, and I think most troubling, leads to them having difficulty receiving healthy love.
I agree. Difficulty
we
receiving
can't do
healthy
that.
love. We
Yes.
can't do that. That's why this just stopped me in my track. Dr. Letitia, Stop talking about me.
I,
No.
I've been snatching edges with this book since it came out in April.
Stop talking about me. So for me, I can remember being in college, Dr. Letitia, and how it was at the HBCU, you put on whatever the outfit was. And I can
Mm-hmm.
remember at the end of the day, I would be like, in my head, no one complimented me. So
Mm-hmm.
did this miss the mark? But then and also, like you said, wanting that validation,
Yes.
needing that
Needing it.
validation, and
Needing
feeling
it.
like something was wrong if I didn't get the compliment of the day. And
Yes.
then I can remember me, for the longest, feedback was hard. The
Yes.
feedback was just hard to receive.
Yes.
And I had to realize why. In my head, I was returning to that 10-year
The
old,
criticism.
12-year-old
Yes.
child
Yes.
that was being
Yes.
criticized by my mother. I can remember being at work, and I wrote about this in one of my books. I can remember being at work, and I had this boss who would, take her, use a red marker when we would send her a document, and she would use the red highlighting in
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Word and like go over, and it would
Tear
be
it
when
up.
I would get it, yes, and when I would get it back, I remember it would take me a while to open it because I knew it was
Yes.
going to be, rearranged and rework, and all these
Yes.
this
Yes.
feedback would be there that would be hard for me to receive. And it
Yes.
took me a while to realize, because I blamed
Mm-hmm.
her. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, in my mind, I was like, something is wrong. She gets off on this criticism. She just likes
Mm-hmm.
it. And I had to realize, this is me. This is
Yes.
about me. Because
Yes.
as a grown adult, I should be able to take criticism
Yes.
and deal with it and be okay, right?
And not personalize it.
And not personalize it, right? Because it wasn't personal, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so often I have a neighbor who cannot handle criticism. And I had to tell her that the other day. I was like, you just cannot handle it. You are
Uh-huh.
just fragile,
Yes.
crushes you, right? And
Yes.
so, but the first step is being aware, and it's hard to really, especially if that's your thing, right? If receiving criticism is difficult, right? Then it's hard to even have that conversation with yourself to
Yes.
say, well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's
That's right.
how I'm showing up. And maybe I've
Yes.
got to do some work in here so
That's right.
that you can handle criticism. Now, at my big grown age, I've done a lot
Mm-hmm.
of work. I don't care. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I had on a lace front wig last weekend, and I was out. My friends were like, what's going on?
Let's fix this up. Yep.
And 20 years ago, I would have went in my car and cried. Now I'm like, girl, the lace front, the lace front. So, and,
Help me stick this down,
it has to
sis.
stick to that. And I was like, is it okay? Is it,
Uh-huh.
so,
Uh-huh.
but I realized how
Mm-hmm.
I've grown, right? And it's a
Yes.
small thing, but you realize
No. It's a big thing.
it's a big thing, Dr. Letitia.
That's not a small thing. That's a big thing because you're no longer connecting your sense of self with what somebody else's viewpoint is.
Wow, right,
Let
right.
me share
Yes.
with you one of the quotes that I tell myself out loud every day. Every day is by Audre Lorde.
Mm-hmm.
And what she says is, well, it's two. I'm going to share both. The first one she says is, if I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies of me and eaten alive. When we are connected to the criticism of others, we are crunched into other people's fantasies of how we should look, how we should speak, how we should act, what we should do, what we should wear, where we should go. And what does that do to your soul? It eats you alive.
Mm.
Her second quote is, nothing I accept about myself can be used to diminish me.
Ooh. Okay. I love both. But that
I
last one hit me.
I can accept that, you know what, this may not be my gluing down a wig may not
May
be your
not be
talent.
my thing. Right. Absolutely. That ain't your
That
thing.
may not be your thing. You have many things that you do well. That may not be one of them. And it takes nothing away from you. It's
It takes
okay.
nothing away. That's the thing. It takes nothing away from you. That part is what we have to say for ourselves, right? We can't be perfect in all areas,
No,
right?
we're not. We're not. But when you have that critical voice in your head, what I say to people all the time is, that voice in your head is not even yours. It just sounds like you.
It sounds
What it
like you.
really is the disapproving, unvalidating voice of everybody that taught you while you were growing up, whether that were mentors, teachers, coaches, parents, families. That thing that's like, you better be on point. That thing that's like, you know what, you can't mess up. Don't
You
open
can't
up this
mess up.
document. You better be you constantly. Let's think about the pressure. What does that do to your body? What does that do to your psyche? What does that do to your spirit and your soul? To feel
Exactly.
like you have to be this perfect version of you in order to what? Gain approval?
From people
No.
who don't matter.
And even if the people do matter, and even if they matter, they are not God.
They are not God. Right.
And we
Absolutely.
start to idolize these relationships. We create idols. See, people think, Naj, that idols are just, and I got to
Go
follow,
ahead.
we think idols are cars and houses and money and status. But oftentimes we care more about what a human being is saying than what God is saying to us.
So true.
We will do the most. We will sin, right, and do wrong. And it's like, God, help me, forgive me. But when it's a person, we're going overboard. We're buying flowers. We're going over there. We're making it right. We're smoothing it over. Listen, we have to really be mindful of not making people idols in our lives. It
Woo.
is about God's approval of you and your approval of yourself. That's the only way to be free.
That is deep. Did you know you may be making an idol of the people in your life?
Absolutely.
You just shed some insight. I gotta process that. I gotta sit
That's
with
big.
that,
That
Dr. Letitia.
you got to. I'm gonna share this with you. I'm gonna share this with you. I'm gonna talk about myself. I'm not gonna talk about other people, right? I remember one time I was talking to the Lord. I was walking my dogs, and I was having difficulty with my family relationships and my marriage with my daughter, all simultaneously. And so I'm like, Lord, is it me? And God spoke to me and said, "You shall have no other gods before me."
Woo!
And I was like, Lord, like, I unknowingly, I didn't know. But I
Mm-hmm.
realized that here I am trying to please this person. Here I am trying to make sure this person is not upset, doing the most, and giving God what's left.
Mm.
And He let me know every
Doing the
relationship
most.
in your life is a bonus. Every relationship in your life is a bonus.
I'm gonna have to come back and
Every
write all of this down. You're dropping some jewels.
relationship in your life
Is a bonus. Woo.
is a
Every
bonus.
relationship in your life is a bonus, y'all. You
The
hearing
only
that?
relationships that matter, truly, in the end, are the ones you have with God and yourself.
And yourself. Oh my
Stand there,
God.
you're standing there alone.
Is that your mom's not with you?
Husband's not with you, children not with you, and
It's
you're
you
not
and
going to be
him.
able to say, cousin, none of that. You ain't going to be able to be the martyr mama then.
Uh-uh.
You ain't going to be able to do that, right? God's going to want to know what you did with the gifts, talents, and abilities that were given to you.
Exactly. 100%. You know, Dr. Letitia, I moved away after college. I moved to Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
And I lived in Maryland at the time. And I used to come home. Home is South Carolina. I used to go back and forth to visit. And when I would visit, I would get to the T, hair done, and I would start working out before I would go home because I
Mm.
didn't want to hear the criticism, right? I didn't
Yes.
want to hear you gain weight. You, you know, your makeup is too light for your face, or your makeup is
Mm-hmm.
too dark.
Mm-hmm.
All of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I would have to hear would crush me, right? It
Mm-hmm.
would crush
Mm-hmm.
my spirits. They thought they were doing the best. They thought
Yes.
they were doing the best, Dr. Letitia.
Yes. Yes.
But it would be hard to hear. So I would
Yes.
do all of the things so I could come home to minimize all of that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so now listening to you, I value those relationships and I probably made those an idol, right?
Yes.
Because I should have been able to come home as just show up as
And
myself.
show up
Now
as
I
your
don't
authentic
care.
self. Mm-hmm.
Now I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. Now I come home, however however you get
Mm-hmm.
it is however you get it. But it really makes you think, well,
Yes.
why am I doing all of these things? Because here's
Yeah.
the thing, Dr. Letitia, people only do what you allow them to do. Because
That's right.
if you can say to me, your makeup is bad, you're gaining weight or whatever, but I don't have to allow that to hurt.
That's
I don't
right.
have to allow that to go
That's right.
there,
That's
right?
right.
But
That's
that
right.
takes that takes work
That
to
takes
get there.
inner work and healing. That takes inner work and healing. Look at what you said when you would go home. Home should represent a place of safety.
Mm-hmm.
Home is where you're supposed to be able to be accepted. If your hair's all over your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't brush your teeth, if
Mm-hmm.
your clothes have a stain, you're supposed to be embraced and loved.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here you were performing. Here you were making sure you looked the part,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't feel the part.
Right.
And that's the piece that we have to work through and work on with our family systems.
Absolutely. So I want to shift gears in these
Yes.
final and talk
Mm-hmm.
about family secrets. Woo!
Woo! Oh boy.
Those
You want
family
to go there?
secrets.
Mm-hmm.
We going there, Dr. Letitia. We
All right,
going
let's go.
there.
Let's go.
Y'all see Dr. Letitia is really performing therapy on me right now, y'all. This is like a session, right? I told you it feels like I'm talking to the most compassionate, culturally competent provider on the planet, right?
Thank you so much.
Um, so first of all, why are we the sweep under the rug
Mm.
in our families? And then why do they hurt us so much? Talk to us, Dr. Letitia. Just
Let's talk about secrets. So, family keeps secrets about a bunch of things, whether it's abuse, mental illness, violence, paternity, infidelity, trauma, right? And it's done because secrecy initially feels protective, but it always creates shame. And what secrets teach children is that what happened to you or what you are experiencing or feeling is unspeakable, that protecting the family name is more important than protecting yourself, and that
mm,
telling the truth is dangerous. So I need people to recognize that secrets don't disappear. They're just transmuted across generations, and those behaviors and that silence and that unresolved pain is just perpetuated. And here's the reality: not every truth needs to be publicly broadcasted and told from the rafters. But healing requires that secrets be acknowledged. That is done in a safe space where there is validation. And we don't do that because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't do that because we don't want to say the wrong thing. But not recognizing the damage, the long standing damage. What message are you sending when you keep those secrets? It keeps us sick. Secrets keep us sick. It's
wow.
only truth that gives us choices.
Y'all heard it. Truth gives us choices.
And
And these
secrets keep
secrets
us
are
sick.
keeping us sick.
Yes, they are. Yes. You can only heal when you are able to acknowledge. And again, it's living in that and, right? See, there are no cards, Naj, that say, Mom, thank you so much for life. I appreciate all you did, and you really hurt me. There are no Hallmark cards that say that. Right? And so we are just programmed to allow all of these harmful behaviors to perpetuate. And then what do? We talk about generational curses. Well, then you do the same thing to your daughters. And guess what? She's going to do the same thing to her daughter. And on and on and on. And it never stops. So we have to recognize that like these secrets they have to come to the forefront in order for us to be whole. We have to shine the light. And who are we protecting? What image are we upholding? Are we making an idol of our image? Are we making an idol of our family name? Are we making an idol of those things and not being honest and real?
Are we making an idol out of grandpa? Are we making an
Yes.
idol out of Uncle so and so?
Yes, right.
That
Knowing that it was harm.
that it was harm. Exactly.
Yes.
What do you say, Dr. Letitia, to the person out there who was the family secret? Because y'all, she starts the book off with the family secret.
Yes.
So you're not alone. You're not
No, you're
alone,
not.
first
No,
off.
you're not.
But
No.
what do you say to that person who was the family secret? What
I would say that even though you may have been the one that was the secret, or even if you were the one who was asked to keep a secret, it's important to know that your story matters. It's important to know that who you are matters, and you're more than that secret. You're more than that lie. You're more than what you had to swallow to keep other people safe. that you get to rewrite the narrative now. We have a choice every day to rewrite our stories. So choose life. That's what I would say.
Wow. Choose life.
Choose
And
life.
you get a chance to rewrite the narrative.
Yes, you
You
do.
can disrupt the narrative. And that the person who disrupts the narrative,
Woo.
I'm the narrative disruptor
Me too.
in my family. Both of us, we both have that. And that's not an easy place to be
That's
because you
right.
have to deal with a lot of people, not
Yes.
talking to you
Yes.
and this is and
Yes.
that's fine with me. And I'll
Right.
tell you, my uncle asked me because with my elders, and I don't know if it's like this with anybody else, but with my elders, I always feel like, even though at my big grown age, I always go back to that 12-year-old child when I'm with my elders.
Yes.
That's who comes
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
That's who is present inside of me when I go back to them. And so he was like, I want to talk to you and ask you why you wrote about XYZ. And
Woo.
so I felt 12-year-old Najma,
Mm-hmm.
the feelings,
Mm-hmm.
that blush that comes over you, the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm a
Yeah.
grown woman.
That's right.
I pay a mortgage. I have children. No, I'm not. No,
I'm not
12-year-old
doing it.
Najma, I got you. I got you.
That's right.
And so I stood and I had the conversation and I said, so that y'all can heal,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can heal, so that I can
That's right.
heal,
That's right.
so that y'all
That's
can be
right.
better
That's right.
parents
That's
to
right.
us, right?
That's right.
And so you were the disruptor. Why was that important to you, Dr. Letitia?
Because I didn't want to betray myself anymore, Naj.
Ooh.
How could I walk around being hurt over the betrayals of other people and not address the way I was betraying myself? So I recognized I had to name the painful truths. I had to refuse to continue to participate in these lies and in these denials. Right? I had to examine the generational patterns that existed before me. And I had to choose, most importantly, authenticity over approval. Approval was too costly for me. It was running me ragged.
Mm.
Because when you're a disruptor, Naj, you are almost like labeled, right? Like you're labeled as disloyal by some, ungrateful, dramatic, you're divisive, you just want to cause problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's recognizing when you are the disruptor, you're often the one that is birthing the new generational healing.
Mm.
So
I
either
love
you're going to
that.
keep going with the status quo or you're going to be the one to birth the healing and create the generational blessings. And that was more important to me than keeping the status quo. I had to be courageous enough to step forward past the pain.
Courage.
That courage. Yep.
Courage. That's what it takes. It takes
Yes.
courage
Yes.
to stand in this position that
Yes.
not everyone has because it is
No,
difficult. And
it's
I'm gonna be
difficult.
honest with you, I can't recommend it if you know you're not there yet. I wouldn't recommend it to you
Yes, you got to
because
wait.
it's
You
not
got
a
to wait
you
until
got
you've
to
done the
wait
work.
until you're ready. Yes, yes, because it's
Yep.
not an easy place to stand
No,
in. Because sometimes you may
no.
find yourself standing alone, but are we
That's right.
really ever alone
We
though?
are never alone. And here's the thing, isn't it better to be alone than to be filled with people but still feel lonely?
Mm, right,
So many of us
exactly.
have, we are around people, but we're not
Mm-hmm.
connected. We're disconnected. So we feel lonely
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So you know what I mean? Like you're not losing anything by
Mm-hmm.
choosing yourself. You're
By choosing
gaining
yourself
by choosing yourself. You're gaining. And we have to get comfortable with choosing ourselves and recognize that it's not selfish, it's self-full.
is so full. Wow. Tell us what liberation looks like.
Mm. Liberation looks like no longer needing permission, no longer needing validation, believing in your own experiences. It's the ability. Liberation is saying, I know who I am. I get to define myself for myself. My worth is not up for debate. I
Mm,
can love you without abandoning me.
mm.
And your inability to see me does not determine what my worth is. So many daughters regress emotionally around their mothers or around their elders, right? What you said about going back to that 12-year-old,
Yes, yes, yes.
right? Because our nervous systems remember our childhood. So your body and your mind is responding as if you're that 12-year-old with no voice.
Wow.
So we have to be prepared before we have certain interactions. We have to notice when we're triggered without judging ourselves and know that you're not a bad person if you can only spend 4 hours with this person and not 24.
2 hours for me.
Two
Some you get
hours,
2 hours.
1 hour, right? You got to know that though. And you got to be good with that and know it doesn't make you good, bad, or indifferent. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And then I would say reparent yourself. Liberation looks like reparenting yourself with compassion. Pouring that
With
love and
compassion.
validation that you didn't get into you.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
liberation, y'all. That's
That's
that's what we
liberation.
need to be seeking
Yes.
is
Yes.
liberation. And you talked about regressing,
Yes.
turning back into that 12-year-old girl. How do
Yes.
we move past that?
So I think that the first thing we have to recognize is that we have to make peace with the things in our past that we cannot change.
Just
And we
accept it.
have we have to accept it, and we radically accept it. And that doesn't mean that you don't wish that things were different, but accept that it was what it was. The second thing, Naj, we have to do is forgive. And my definition of forgiveness is letting go of the hope that things could have been different. Notice that I didn't bring up the other person. I didn't bring up what they did, what they should have did,
Ooh.
what they could have did. I said I define it as letting go of the hope that things could have been different. That's how you free yourself. Because it's that expectations that only if you did this or if they did that, things would have been better, or nicer or calmer, etc. And you know what? We don't know that that's true. We
We
believe
don't
that,
know.
but we don't know if that's true. Statistics and probability tells us that if things were different, they would probably be worse, not better. So it's forgiveness as well. It's that forgiveness.
Forgiveness. And I love that definition, how you frame
Yes.
forgiveness, because then it's
Yes.
about us, right?
Yes.
Because we get caught up with, I got to forgive this person.
Yes.
I've got to,
Nope.
I got to go
Nope.
to them. I got to hug them and I got to let it go and I got to do
No.
all. No,
No.
this is the forgiveness is us. It's about
Yes.
us.
Yes.
I've got to let go of the hope that things could have been different. I've got
And
to accept.
yes, accept it. And that doesn't mean that you need to be in relation with these people.
Forgiveness does not mean you need to be in relation with those
No.
folks.
No. Because some people need to be under the jail for the things that they did, right?
Exactly.
Right? So
Exactly.
we've got to be honest about that. But you also don't want to be in prison emotionally
Right.
for the rest of
Exactly.
your life, unable to give and receive love freely.
Exactly. And that's what unforgiveness does. When you're still looking back and still, it should have been this didn't, it shouldn't happen to me. Why did it happen to me? You're in this prison.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
boxed in this prison and you're
A
not free to love
self-imposed one.
right
Yes.
from the healthiest part of you.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, this has been major.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all, please get this book. First of all, please get this book. My mom is my biggest hater.
Yes.
Breaking Free from Toxic Mother-Daughter Relationships by Dr. Letitia. Where can I find this book, Dr. Letitia?
They can find the book on Amazon and also on my website, which is greatjoycounseling.org.
Perfect. And if you're following me, if you're in our Facebook group, please grab the book because I'm going to be asking you some questions. We're going to be talking about this book. So everybody get it so that we can have healthy
Yes.
conversations
Yes.
about this. There are questions at the end of this book, journal prompts that help you process the information and really get to the root of it. There's so many things I love about this book. It's written from the most compassionate place. She also gives us ways that we can respond to our mothers in a healthy
Yes.
manner
Yes.
to maintain those boundaries.
Yes.
And I've been really working through these, and it goes from when she criticizes your body and appearance, when she uses guilt as a weapon, when she shares your private information, when she triangulates you.
Yes.
Because in our families, we get
That happens a lot.
triangulated, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so we want to be able to have the healthy
Yes.
responses to manage this, because it's not disrespect. And I know our elders perceive when we push back,
Yes.
they perceive this to be disrespect, but it's really not. And it's about, your boundaries and you protecting
Yes.
you.
And I think for me, I gave it that provocative title on purpose. And I am not suggesting that all mothers consciously hate their daughters, but
Mhm.
I want readers to be able to examine some of the difficult questions that they may be afraid to ask themselves. Why does the person that should have championed me the most seem threatened by me? Why do I feel diminished in this person's presence rather than celebrated? Why do I feel that this love is wrapped up in criticism, as we talked about earlier, or comparison, or guilt, or control? Why do I feel like I've spent my life having to earn love and approval rather than simply receiving it? That's why I wrote it that way. Because for so many women, the person who has been the harshest critic, the least affirming, the most competitive, or the most emotional wounding has not been a partner, a stranger, a coworker, it's been their mother. And
Mhm.
society treats this as if it's something unspeakable. And we can't heal it until we name it. That's when we can heal it.
Whew. I want to end by reading this quick paragraph that you wrote.
Yes.
Generational trauma does not travel through genetics alone, though research suggests it can. It travels primarily through attachment, through the way a mother relates to her child, which teaches the child how relationships work, how emotions are managed, how conflict is navigated, how love is expressed or withheld.
Yes.
That is a powerful passage. This is a powerful book. Sit with this book, y'all. Go grab the book. Follow Dr. Letitia. We are going to hear
Yes.
more from this sister.
Yes.
Dr. Letitia, tell us how we can find you.
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at I am Dr. Letitia. You can find me at greatjoycounseling.org. You can find me at greatjoycdc.org. So I am around. I'm on social media. I'm on my website. I try my best to respond to as many people as possible. So many people have had so many positive responses and so much feedback about the book because they recognize it's not a mother bashing book, but really a manual to free yourself from the enslavement that may have existed in that mother daughter dynamic. So I really want everybody to be free. Naj, if people haven't heard anything that I've said, I want their takeaway to be you deserve to be free.
Woo!
It's your
You
birthright.
deserve to be free.
It's
It's
your
your
birthright.
birthright. Listen, when you're planning the family reunion, when that email for the family reunion comes across, suggest y'all do a session on this. All right. So
Yes.
let's get together. We do one session right before the barbecue,
Yes.
where
Yeah. Let's
before
answer
the
some of these
cookout.
questions.
Let's answer some of these questions, y'all. It's gonna be deep. It's gonna be serious, but we're gonna be free. This family deserves to be free, y'all.
Yes.
Grab this book. Go to my website, Black Girls Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds.com. The link to
Yes.
the book will be there. We're going to be talking about it. Thank you all. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Dr. Letitia.
Thank you,
You are
Naj.
a gift. You
Thank you
are
so
a
much.
gift to the culture.
Thank you, my sister.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and for this conversation. And I know we'll be talking again real
Oh,
soon.
yes, absolutely. This isn't the end, sis.
No, no, absolutely not. Thank you.
Thank you.